What's up, everybody? It's Brandon and you're watching Glassworks YouTube channel. Today we're going to get started on the S10 finally. Behind me, as you can see, I've got some drop springs and some spindles. We're going to be doing a 4-inch drop on the front, and then back here on the back I've got these ZQ8 leaf springs from like an S10 Extreme. They're 1.5 to 2 inches lower from the factory. And I've also got those drop blocks back there, like 4-inch drop blocks. So we're going to do about a 4/6 drop on this. And I'm going to show you how we're going to get started. We're going to start on the front first. Show you how to take the spindle out, put the new spindles in, everything like that. So I'm going to get down here and get set up, and I'll get recording and I'll talk you through it. Alright, now I don't know how well you can see because of sunlight. But when you get ready to take them off, there's going to be a nut right here on the bottom. Nut right down here. And then you'll take this nut right here off. And then that will let your spindle drop. But you'll also want to take your sway bar off. So you'll have to take the bolt right there out. And then on the very bottom of the sway bar, underneath the lower control arm, is another bushing and a bolt. It's the head of this long bolt right here. So you put a wrench here, and just grind and wrench it down, or you can just cut it in half, or whatever you want to do to get it out of the way. And when you do all that, also you have this bolt right here, this bolt right here for the caliper. Those are going to be Allen head bits. You'll take those off, and then there'll be some more stuff back here in the back. You have to take this cap off, and there'll be a big nut in there to pull this hub assembly off. Now I'm going to start disassembling all this stuff, and then when I get to this, I'll show you more on it. So give me a few, and I'll get back with you. Alright, again, I don't know how well you can see it, but I got the spindle off. Got a 19 here. This was like a 22, and then this one down here is 24. And these right here were an H3/8. To take these out. Alright, I'm going to push this down. I'm going to take this off first and get this spring out, and then we're going to go from there. Alright, I got my sway bar bushing. I ended up having to cut it because it was so rusted up. If you do that, make sure you got a jack underneath here, because the pressure on this thing will kick down and it will slam hard. So now I'm going to have to get my jack over here, jack it up some more, and push this spindle down to get this spring out. All you'll want to do is get you like a pry bar or something you can just kind of pop it out with. Be careful, because right now it is under tension. But I'm going to get the truck jacked up a little bit more, knock this out. I'll put the new one in, and we'll get ready to swap all this stuff over to the new spindle. And I'll get all that apart, and I'll show you how to do that. Alright, when you get to this part right here, you'll have a cap on there, which I've already removed. Goes on there just like this. All you gotta do is get your little small thin flathead screwdriver, kind of go around the edge, just tap it in with a hammer or something, and just work it around until it pops loose. Then when you get on the inside here, you'll have a cotter pin. Fold the tabs up, pull the cotter pin out, take that nut off, and this whole assembly will slide off the hub. Alright, I'm gonna go ahead and do that real quick, and I'll be right back. Alright, I've got all that loose now. Pulled the cotter pin out, and then this nut right here, broke it loose. If it's like a 27mm, you can use a crescent wrench. Just slide it out, and then you just lift the whole assembly up and be ready to go to your next spindle. Normally you'd want to use brand new bearings, new rotors, new everything, but right now I'm just kind of swapping everything over as it is. So give me a second, I'll get this ready and I'll get back with you. Alright, when you got your spindle apart, you can go ahead and take your dust shield off. It's just 3 11mm screws, bolts, whatever you want to call it, and then just put it on the new spindle. Of course, you want to make sure you have the right spindle. This arm will be towards the front. Of course, it'll be 2 inches lower than the original. And then all you got to do is sit your hub back down and tighten everything up, and I'll get that on there and I'll tell you how to do it. Alright, when you put your hub back on your spindle, this washer right here will have a notch that's made to fit right in that groove. You stick that in there, you'll stick your nut back on it, I always tighten it down as tight as it'll go, and then turn back about a quarter turn tight. That's how I always did it on the big trucks when I worked on semis. But turn it down to where it's low enough you can get a cotter key in. But you want it to be tight where that wheel bearing don't just rattle. You see how low it is? You can see the hole for the cotter key. Now I'll tighten it up, then I'll turn it back a quarter turn or so to get it set, and then I'll place a cotter key back in there. You always want to make sure you get a cotter key to put in there. In 1 minute, and I'll get that done. Right after you get your cotter key in, fold the tabs down on both ends where it won't spin. And then all you gotta do is put your cap back on. All right, I'm gonna get the cap back on. I'm gonna get this jacked up and get that spring out and put the new one in, and we're gonna put it all back together. All right, you can see the stock right here versus the drop right here. On the stock, the coils are a little bit tighter together, so they compress harder. And these right here are a little bit more open, so they'll compress farther down. So I'm gonna get this on the end, and we'll get everything put back together down here in the bottom, and I'll show you when I'm done. All right, now I've got everything back together. I got the brake calipers on. Now you want to make sure you get all these tightened up. I gotta put a new tie rod end on there anyway. You can see the bushing's bad, but after you put all the bolts on, or the castle nuts on right there, this one here and the one up here at the top as well. I don't know how well you can see it, but you want to make sure you put the cotter keys in those and make sure they're getting tight. Get a cotter key in them and fold it over. Now you can see I've already got the spring in, got the drop spindle on, and now pretty much the only thing left to do is just repeat on the other side. I'm gonna do that one off camera, and then I'll show you a picture or a video of the truck with the front wheels on it with it dropped down. But that's pretty much it for this. Just stay tuned and you'll see the rest of the video. And then after that, when I get all that done, I'll get back with you and we'll do a part 2 on the back half. So give me a bit, I'll get that other side done, and I'll show you how it looks when the truck's sitting on the ground. Alright, this is the front. Done. Got the 2-inch drop springs and 2-inch drop spindles. Alright, front's done for now. Any questions, comments, anything like that, just leave them in the comment section for me. Do me a favor, like, comment, subscribe. Part 2, I'll be showing you how to do the back half. Have a good one. Alright, in the last part of the video, I showed you where I did all the front end, and I said I was going to do the back. Well, ended up, my buddy showed up, and we jumped on the back, didn't get any video recorded. What I ended up doing was taking the old rear end completely out, leaf springs included. I put the ZQ8 rear springs in, put this other rear end in. I've still got the drop blocks, which I got to get some better U-bolts. These are kind of stretched out, messed up. But I just got it sitting here for the time being. But the ZQ8 rear end from the factory is 1.5 inches lower. Plus I've got these drop blocks in. Basically all I did was at the front right up there, take that bolt out. I took those 2 bolts out. Took the U-bolts out, put the blocks in, put the new leaf springs in, and the perches, and tightened everything back up. Of course, when I swapped my rear end out, I had to take the U-joint apart so I could put a new rear end in. Now, if you're trying to swap the leaf springs out, you're going to have a pain in the butt on that front up there, because that bolt, the nut is on the outside and the bolt goes through the frame and hits the gas tank. So you're most likely going to have to drop your gas tank if you're swapping leaf springs. But if you're just doing a drop, all you need to do is drop the rear of the leaf springs down, swing them down, roll your axle out of the way, or jack it up rather, since you're not swapping the rear end, And just, like I said, drop the leaf springs down in the back. Put your blocks in and your longer U-bolts in. Tighten them up, raise the rear end back up, and put the bolts back in for the leaf springs. And that's pretty much all there is to it. But right now, like I said, on the front, I did 2-inch drop cools, or 3-inch drop cools and 2-inch drop spindles. So I got the drop in the front, and I got about 5 in the rear. I don't quite remember what the front was now. I know it was 2-inch drop spindles and maybe a 1-inch drop in the front, 3-inch, I don't remember. It's in the earlier parts of the video. It's been a few weeks since I've messed with it. But, I mean, it's pretty much how it is right now. Of course, I gotta get some different tires on these. Them Hoosiers just ain't worth a damn. They ain't hold air for nothing, but they're just on there to get it transported around when I need to move it. Get some low pros for the front. Get these wheels cleaned up, buffed up. I got to start body work on this thing. New windshield. Back here on the back, I just kind of slid the roll pan in for a test fit. I'm going to have to do some body work to get it in. Rework them corners on the bed. Get the rest of this bed shaved back down, smoothed down, where I can mark it, put my caddy lights in. Let's see. I need to do some modification on the insides of the doors, so I can put my door panels in. I got to fix fender gaps. And put my front valance on, but I've already got my new headlights in, which I still hadn't wired them up yet, but there will be a video on them coming here soon enough. Anyway, this is just the current status of the S10. Kind of poor right now. I hadn't had a lot of time to work on it. Been working on the Honda. Rebuilt the motor, and somehow or another, I don't know, I guess I got a wrong bearing in there somewhere. I went with all standard bearings, which apparently you can't do that on these Hondas, which this is the first one I've actually went and pulled in depth on and pulled rod bearings, main bearings, everything completely out. So I've got a bearing, sounds like spun rod bearing in there. So I had a video of it where I was rebuilding it, but it is what it is. I'm going to pull it all apart, and we're going to try to do some diagnosis on it, and I'll at least have that. But that's it for the S10 right now. I'm still thinking about chopping the top, making a little roadster out of it. Kind of always wanted a S10 roadster. Who knows, I may get tired of the 4-cylinder 5-speed and throw an LS in it or something later as well. Then maybe them Hoosiers will be worth something. But anyway, man, everyone, I appreciate y'all watching. If you don't mind, like, comment, subscribe, share the videos. Give me some input, feed, thoughts, ideas on all this. If you have anything on this of, you know, spun rod bearings, things like that, things to look for when redoing a Y7, Y8 Mini-Me. I think I know what I did wrong. I'm used to building motors a little bit differently, and I put assembly lube on both sides of the bearings, which apparently you're not supposed to do on these Hondas. And apparently by doing that, I spun the bearings. But it is what it is. It's a live and learn situation. I'm not gonna, you know, dwell on it. You know, I can't think about all my problems, because hell, once I'm gone, I can't take them with me anyway, right? Anyway, appreciate y'all watching. Like, comment, subscribe. Let me know some more stuff that y'all ready to see. Have a good one.